So how you doing? You putting the liquor first?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Or you pouring it on top?
How do the bartenders do it? That's the question.
Now and then.
Alrighty, y'all. Let's get into it. So we are back by popular demand.
Okay.
You know what we're saying. So we out here doing a mukbang with my girl, Mar F Baby. Please say the baby. We're recording on both of our channels, so.
Yes. So if you're watching on either
On either of our channels.
either of the channels,
Please subscribe to Mar F Baby. And then hop on over to your girl.
yes,
Miss Got a Millennial. Ooh, okay. So you poured half and then
I put a little bit, then I poured, then I let it salt actually a lot, and so I just put the rest in.
That's
And
okay. I think that's good. We're not trying to have Jamaica Part 2.
this is just right. You know, we're doing Rita's again. If you follow my vlog, you know that we tried Rita's.
So we got some food. So we got it at Juicy Seafood, located in Silver Springs.
Merlin.
It's not Maryland, it's Merlin.
Merlin.
So we're gonna try it. We're gonna show you what we got because we got some good things. So,
And if you, once again, if you've been following us, you know that we tried another seafood place.
right.
And we can just tell by the way the restaurant looked that this one was gonna be a little bit better.
Yeah.
We decided not to do boil bag this time because ain't nobody got time, nobody got patience. It's 90 degrees out here.
Ooh, we need to get a thumbnail.
We just
The chicken is smelling right.
okay. We got wings. We got calamari. Shrimp. And these are like, almost like, what you call it, fries?
That's
Waffle fries.
that's the calamari, and this is
That's a shrimp.
the shrimp.
Sweaty.
Yo, yeah, the food is sweating. I'm sweating. It is blazing hip hop and R&B out here. Like, let me tell y'all. Alrighty, so in today's video, we're going to recap our fabulous couples vacation that had a lot going on in the matter of 3 days. And let me tell y'all, we can't go nowhere without having something happen.
Always. Something always happens. There's always an adventure. There's always a story.
Always. And it started from the AM. Like, it wasn't once we got out there. It started from Maryland.
Yep.
All the way to Jamaica.
All the way to Jamaica and back.
And back. First the Uber ride.
Oh,
Let's get into the damn Uber. While we set up these plates. The Uber ride was going smooth until one particular song came on talking about drop it low for Jesus. It just kept saying drop it low.
We knew it was a gospel song. It was a Sunday morning.
Right.
We knew it was a little praise and worship. Like,
right.
Okay. And you know, in most gospel songs, especially that sound live, they have their little breakdown of just the music. And the artist just wanted to say, drop it low. And we're like,
I'm like,
and me and Shaq looked at each other and we was like, what did he just say?
I'm like, did you change the song?
And I'm dying laughing and Shaq going to go, for Jesus?
These are questions we have to ask.
And our Uber driver busted out laughing and was like, I was going to change the song and I didn't know. Like, we were just really confused.
Really
confused. So be careful with your gospel music.
Right. Seriously. Play it first before you're playing it.
In the presence of people.
Right. Because you don't know who you're getting in your car. Me, I say anything.
I'm just like, what?
So, let's just get into this.
So, first and foremost, flying to Jamaica was hell.
Man. Hell in a handbasket. Like,
we took 2 flights. We had a layover in Miami. The first one, smooth takeoff, everything. By the end, when we're supposed to land, maybe like 10-15 minutes, it's almost like the pilot took it off autopilot and like jerked the wheel or something.
Yo. At this point, we're not even sitting next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in the front and I'm in the back. And I'm like, am I the only one feeling this? Because anybody around me, they ain't moving, they ain't doing nothing.
Nobody budged.
And the whole plane was like, boom. I'm like, this is not normal.
It was like trying to make a turn.
Right.
It was like,
but he lost control.
Like, and it's weird because the person that was in the row next to me, a girl and this guy, she had her shades up too to look up. Because I was looking out the window when it happened.
Scary.
I look out the window, like, you know, trying to record my video. And then when whoop, I was like, and she was like, and put her shade down. So then it made me think like there's really a problem because she panicked. I'm like,
right.
Oh no, there's an issue. We're going down. Like, we're going down. Then it fixed itself, and then that was it.
At least it only did it for like a second.
Yeah. So we were like, dang, the plane was wilding or whatever. We're telling Will in Miami, like, this last flight, they almost dropped us out the sky the last minute.
The plane was crazy. But then, from Miami to Jamaica, man, they was like, if y'all didn't have an experience the first time, we're going to show y'all an experience.
So...
And we were sitting, shoot, we got business class seats, so you know we were feeling real bougie. Sitting up there like, sitting up here with the rich and wealthy, while the peasants sit in the back. But they was like, nope, not today. You ain't getting that business class experience.
That takeoff was like...
Before we even took off, the flight attendant's like this.
It was going on the runway like this.
That little Kim.
Right.
I'm like, homie, we're not even in the air. Like, what are you doing?
By the time it took off, it's like it couldn't get up. You know, like, imagine being drunk and not being able to, like, get yourself up.
Right.
That's what it felt like.
Like, the plane felt like it was wagging a dragon. Like, it could not pull whatever way. And there weren't even that many people on the plane.
Nope.
That's the thing. So it wasn't like it was full to capacity. Like, there was mad rows that were empty. So I don't understand why the plane was shaking and jolting. But then later on we found out that it was a Boeing
737.
So, yeah.
But it was just shaking, like, up and down. Literally, in there, it's like we were on a roller coaster. We were like,
literally.
Like, kept going like this. Kept dropping. We literally thought, this is it.
Yo, there was a point we looked at each other and we were just like, this is how we going down.
Paranoid ever since. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And we used to travel all the time.
All the time.
I've never felt turbulence like that.
And
I was like, all we want is a vacation.
We just want a vacation. But when we finally made it there, I had a little issues at customs.
Yep.
I'm like, listen here, I'm a veteran. I be coming here all the time. Don't be trying to stop me. So you have to go to the kiosk and scan your passport. I'm scanning my passport and it's like, see attendant. I'm like, is this because y'all need to see my documents? Because at that point, nobody checked our documents. So I'm like, maybe they want to just check my documents or whatever. So I'm asking the lady that's supposed to be helping you out. And she's like standing from all the way a mile away talking about, what does it say? I'm like, ma'am, you can't come over here and see what it says. And she's like, do it again. Is the passport the right way? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, go to the counter. Go to the counter. They literally have to do everything that you're supposed to do on the kiosk by hand. So she's writing out all my information. I'm like, I could have done this on the kiosk much faster. We get through one checkpoint, and we got to get through a second one. And she's scanning my passport, and the thing's not scanning. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Now see, had I known that Shaq's kiosk wasn't working, I would have told her to move, because when I went to the kiosk, and Will was next to me, the same thing happened to him. Like you're saying, see attendant, and I was like, no. Use mine, put it in, and then it went through.
Right.
When you use the kiosk and you have the printed out paper with your picture on it, you just kind of walk through. They see it, stamp, keep it pushing. That's it. There's no questions, there's no nothing.
Right.
So it delayed her process.
Man, I held up the line because she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, my computer's not working. I'm like, oh, okay, it better be the computer and not them running no kind of background check. Because I'm like, I come out here all the time.
Right.
So I finally get through and I'm like, oh my God, I'm through to freedom. And then we get to the resort and I'm like, all right, we about to turn up. We got this couple's vacation. You know, we about to do the damn thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, day one went good. You know, we was acting up per usual.
All you ladies pop that thing like this. Shake your.
But then we had to go get our COVID test the next day because we had called the front desk. They said it takes about 24 hours to get the results. We left in like 48 hours from then, so we didn't want to risk not having our results in time.
Right.
So we go the next morning, and let me tell y'all about this setup because it was different. Like they had a room upstairs in an isolated section, and you wait outside in the chairs. Mind you, nobody's coming out periodically to wipe down the chairs. You're just hopping from chair to chair until it's your turn. So they're moving people in and out quickly.
So unorganized.
So unorganized. You don't even need to make an appointment because they didn't even confirm.
Yeah, first they said you have to make an appointment. Don't miss your appointment or else you'll have to pay.
Right.
That was one. And that's clearly a lie. Because we could have just went.
Right.
Then they're like, when we checked for appointments, there was nothing available till like Tuesday, or was it like the day before? And I was like, and even then I had booked one, but then it was like
right. Me and Will couldn't.
I got a confirmation email, but then y'all wasn't getting confirmation emails. So we were like, what the heck? Then the front desk just said, oh, just go there.
Right.
Okay. So y'all do walk-ins, why you make an appointment?
They couldn't even tell us that when we were checking in.
So while we're waiting to go in, remember those people came in and said, hey, we never got our results.
Oh.
They're going to be like, oh, go get it at the front desk.
Right.
They're like, we went to the front desk, they sent us here.
Right.
It was at that point we should have known there was already a disconnect. There was something not adding up.
Right.
Unprofessionalism. There was something wrong. But we were just like, okay, maybe these people are just like dumb.
And I think also because we were already so nervous about taking the test because when we took it out here, we didn't go all the way up to our soles. We just went to like the bridge of our nose, not even. And we've seen videos of them going deep. So we're just like, oh my God, I don't know if we can do this. So mentally preparing us. So we weren't really paying attention to all the red flags beforehand. But when we get in the room, she takes us and seats us in the chairs. Mind you, they're not wiped down before the next person comes in. There's a boy sitting at a computer. I don't know what he's there for because he didn't even check us in. And she didn't even take our names.
There's nobody checking you in. They take you to get it first. She doesn't take your name, she takes your sample. While you're taking the sample, she'll tell the guy, hey, they're in this order. I'll give it to you in the order that I take it to them.
Right.
Rather than taking your information first, putting it on the tube, knowing exactly who it is, confirming the information, name, date of birth, whatever. No, so we do the test first, and then she gives it to the guy in order, whatever. And the guy asks, what's your name? I think you said your name, birthday, and your email address.
Yeah, that's it. No proof of identity.
Has a whole computer in front of him, but not typing it. He's writing it in a notebook.
On a notebook.
Another red flag.
Like a school book. Like he's in school, and he's writing out notes.
I'm like, you're going to write over 100 people a day in a notebook with their date of birth and stuff?
Right.
Sketchy.
Right. Then jumping back to the test, they do her husband's test first. And they only go through one nostril. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is easy. Then they jump to Samara and they do both of her nostrils. And I'm like, that's different. I'm like, well, do they do the men different out here? I mean, I wasn't questioning, but I'm like, that's weird. Why would they only do one nostril for him? So then they do mine, and they do both of mine. So I'm like, okay. Well, we got in and out or whatever, and we're thinking that we're gonna get the results in 24 hours, but they literally were available, not to us, but they got the results like within 10 minutes.
It was probably like 10 minutes because by the time because after that we went back to the room to change, to get ready to go to the water park.
And that's when you got the
email.
email.
And before I left to go to the water park, I literally got an email that said for Will to go to the front desk immediately. And I was like, for what?
Right.
And I chose not to. I'm like, I don't know what it is. And we decided to go to the water park first.
Yeah, he was not wasting a day.
Yeah, I was like, no, we'll go to the water park. I'll go to them after. It's not an emergency. So we went to the water park, went to the beach, had some jerk chicken.
Yep.
Spent all day out. Yeah, when it came time to go back to get ready like for dinner, we were sitting on, it started raining. I remember me and Will was sitting on the balcony, and then we heard the phone ringing. I answered the phone. That's when the front desk was like, hey, Will tested positive. And I was like, excuse me?
I'm like, which
They're
Will?
like, yeah, you gotta stay in the room. And I was like, excuse me?
I'm like, which Will? Because y'all didn't print out our names on these tubes.
Like,
And he only did one nostril. So how do we know?
They were like, yeah, I don't know. You tested positive, so you have to wait. I'm gonna have the doctor call you. I was like, okay.
Crazy.
Hang up the phone. Somebody else calls me. Oh yeah, you tested positive. Here are your options. Take another rapid test. Take a PCR. Blah blah blah. Or quarantine. Okay. I want a rapid test. Okay, I gotta call them to that. Like instead of just linking the calls together, it was a lot of calling back. So we had done the 2 tests that day. Both rapid tests came positive, so we had to move to the quarantine room.
Devastating.
Which you saw in our videos were very
Right.
literally killed the mood of the trip because we didn't have a lot of time.
Right.
So
Because we literally were having so much fun for the past 2 days. And then for them to be like, oh, you tested positive. Mind you, we had just had our tests in the U.S.
not even 3 days.
3 days prior.
Yep.
Last time I checked per the CDC, it don't happen within 48 hours.
Right.
So you can't get COVID within 48 hours. We didn't do anything. All we did was come from the plane to the resort.
Yep. That's it.
And we only stayed with ourselves the first day. We didn't meet
nobody.
nobody.
We didn't mingle with nobody. Nothing.
Nobody.
It just didn't make logical sense or whatever. And so we pondered on staying in the quarantine 10 days, but we decided take the PCR test, which ended up coming back negative, which pissed me off because we basically spent $200 just to prove that he was negative.
Right.
Instead of staying there. If we had to stay there, I would have left yesterday.
Yeah.
So literally killed the day.
The whole day.
So
let's get into the juiciness of this trip. Now, when they were in quarantine, I had met this couple in the pool. Seemed chill or whatever, and we were just talking because Stephon was going up and down that water slide like a big ass kid 30,000 times. And then her boyfriend came and he was doing the same thing. So we were just kind of floating around in the water, just talking. She goes on her way and then we go on our way. And then we finally get the news that they can come out of quarantine. So we link up and then we go to the little sports bar upstairs. And then that's where homegirl and her man were. So I was like, oh, hey, what y'all doing up here? Blah, blah, blah. Or whatever. So then we started drinking with them. And y'all know when the liquor's in the system, ain't no telling. Man, that's when everybody's business was coming. Not everybody's, their business was coming out. Because they were just talking about all kinds of stuff like who pays what, who doesn't do what, or whatever. Mind you, we on vacation. Mm-hmm. We ain't trying to hear this. We trying to be laughing, kikacking, like doing our usual foolishness, trying to get some entertainment for y'all. Mm-hmm. But we was up there for like a good
It was a couple hours.
Couple hours.
The time flew by. We were supposed to just get a couple shots
and go downstairs.
Go downstairs to like the show, listen to some music. We never made it out of the sports bar.
Never made it. Never even made it.
Ever made it out of the sports bar.
Because we had some wine downstairs.
Yeah, we had wine and dinner.
Then
we came up and had some shots.
We had the shots and this
frozen drink.
Frozen. I don't even remember the name of it, but we had got that. So at that point in time, we already had a little buzz.
Yeah, I could have been fine.
Could have been fine.
I could have been fine the rest of the night.
But my husband was like, nope.
Ain't no thing that's
coming back to the tables like this with drinks and drinks. I'm like, I'm done. But
it was a lot, but we kept saying like, well, this is our last night.
Right.
We've been in prison all day.
Right.
We gotta celebrate.
Time.
We gotta make up. You know, we're still celebrating Will's birthday. So we just said whatever.
Right.
You know, it was also our fault that we separated for a little bit. It was us girls at one table and the boys by themselves. So we couldn't even monitor what the boys were drinking.
No. Not that we weren't that far from them, but we were just so into our conversation that we weren't even paying attention to them because they weren't being loud. Mm-mm. They were just like, you know, drinking, having guy talk, whatever y'all be talking about. And then after a point, we was like, what are they doing over there? Mm-hmm. So we got up, went over and sat by them. And then even before that, my husband came back with another shot of Ray and Nephew. Now, if y'all know, that stuff is like our rubbing alcohol. Like, it's net. Shout out to y'all people who drink that on the
It's past that. Because I would honestly rather do Patron than that. The smell alone was like very
rich.
Oh my God. Like, and it was a lot. And so we didn't know what the guys were drinking. We know that when we got to the table, voices were getting loud. Voices were getting loud. But we weren't sober to be like, okay, everybody's off. We were also tipsy.
Right.
Man, I mean, you could probably see in clips of my videos.
We might insert a couple clips just so y'all have a little reference.
Just to refresh your memory. There's a lot of,
right.
Drink spilling.
Yo. You
know, talking about who does what, who buys what, how many jobs we have. What people's roles are in relationships, you know.
It was a lot.
What's expected of you. And it's just like, it's not even a conversation you want to have when you're drinking. You know what I mean? You want to be joking and laughing and talking about stupid stuff, not talking about serious relationship stuff.
Right. Because I know I don't want to be talking about that. I
want to be acting a fool.
Okay.
I want to be taken care of.
Okay. That's what we said. We said we was going to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. But that was a lie. That was a lie.
And why was it a lie, Shaquilla?
It was a lie because, listen, like I said, my husband kept coming back with drinks and drinks and drinks. And, you know, this was the first time my husband and her husband met. So they're just getting to know each other, like just drinking. They don't really know each other's tolerances or anything like that. So he's coming back with drinks and drinks and drinks. My husband, he casually drinks all the time. He's Jamaican, so y'all know how y'all
his tolerance is sky high.
It's fine. Like you can't even tell when he's buzzed, like to that point. And her husband, like we said, we are already tipsy, so we're not really seeing the signs that he's like going down.
Yeah.
And we're talking and talking and talking. It wasn't until he banged on the table and spilled the drink that we were like, wait a minute, you're doing way too much.
What's wrong with you?
Y'all don't need to be drinking.
And even then, it was weird because I'm like, he's still speaking.
Right, he was speaking.
Okay.
He was looking perfectly
He's not
fine.
slurring his words, nothing.
Perfectly fine. He was just like elevated, like he was just loud, you know, enjoying the moment.
But everybody was, so you can't really say like it was just him, like.
Right. And next thing you know, we might have to insert that clip.
job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yo.
As
Yo.
long as she's still working,
Yo.
that doesn't mean she has to take care of the house.
No, absolutely not.
You know what I mean? She's
You
still
share that
working. You share it.
But he gets up mid-conversation from the table and goes to the bathroom. My husband's like, yo. Homie doesn't turn back for nothing. Like, he just keeps going.
He just said, I don't know.
So my husband gets up and follows him to go, make sure he's good or whatever. He comes back maybe like not even 10 minutes later. He's like, yo, Will's done. Will's done. He said it's so calm. Like, not like, yo, come on.
He's like, I just need some water. And I said, where is he? He's good. He's good.
Right.
He needs some water. He's good. I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking he just down there probably just a little slump, whatever.
Right. Man.
Mess.com, yo.
Slumped was not the word. Homie was,
If you think back to maybe your college days or whatever, or being drunk or being so drunk that you start throwing up. When you get really drunk, everybody knows they start throwing up. Usually you'll just be hunched over the toilet like, throw up whatever and be like, oh my God, I'm drunk. I want to go lay down or whatever. This child, it's almost like his head was in the toilet bowl. Like, by the time we got downstairs, we were like, he was on the floor hugging the toilet, throwing up. And we were like, what the heck? Like, when did he...
Yo.
It was like a complete shift. Like, his body was just like, shut off. He was able to walk himself downstairs and then completely shut off. Like, he could have really like fell down the stairs.
Dead ass.
He shut off.
Because
And
there was a good amount of stairs.
yes.
And where the bathroom is, it's not like right downstairs. Like, you get into the bathroom, like, you gotta go around the corner, down this little hallway, and you're in the bathroom. So when we turn the corner and we see homie like hugging the toilet, we're like, yo, what the hell happened? Like, it was like night and day. I kid you not. Like, we did not see that coming. I thought they were joking. But when I heard him like
Once he got on the floor to throw up, there was no he could not stand up. He was like pleading with us to let him basically down on the floor.
Right.
He was like, I'm going to lay here
let me lay down
in the bathroom floor. We're like, you're not laying here.
Me?
And at that point we were like, the night is over.
Yo.
The night is over.
No footage or nothing. Like, motherly wife instincts kicked in so quick.
Yeah, there was no recording this. It was just kind of like, all right,
No.
sober up so we can get him.
But at least to walk to the room.
He could not walk.
Yo.
Like, he could not stand
Could
up.
not stand
Him getting
up.
down on the floor was probably the worst thing. He could not get up. So we then had to fetch for the front desk.
They got the sister in a motherfucking wheelchair because the bitch is so drunk. They gonna wheel this bitch in the room and drop that bitch.
To get a wheelchair.
Mind you, my husband is like maybe a little bit bigger than my pinky. He's very skinny, but he can pick up. He can pick me
He
up.
could move weights.
He can pick me up. Okay. And I ain't no skinny girl. But when you're picking up somebody who's drunk to that point, they're dead weight.
Oh my
So they're
God.
double what they normally are. Him and this other scrawny boy are trying to pick him up, and they both struggling to get him because Will, he's just pushing all his body weight down, like, oh no, stop moving me.
And what's worse is anytime he was moved, he's throwing up more.
Throwing up.
Like, any movement that's made to him, more throw up is coming out. So I'm sitting there with like
The napkin.
paper towels that you're trying to hold, trying to catch everything. Even the dude that came from the front desk, big dude.
Yo.
It still took everybody to get him into the wheelchair comfortably, like properly. It was a lot. It was a lot of lifting and moving.
Because he was not hearing it.
And luckily for us, being in the quarantine room happened to be in the same building as the lobby and had an elevator.
Right.
Now, had we been in our original room in the back of the resort, there is no way, we would have slept in the lobby. There would be no way we would have made it over there. There was no elevator over there, and we was on the top floor.
Too far.
We would not have made it. So luckily we made it to the elevator. However, the elevator was broken, first of all. So we almost contemplated having to go up the stairs, but then some guy came and fixed it.
Right.
Or whatever. We went up, we got into the room. it was funny. It was a struggle to get into the room, and then everybody's standing there like, okay, how are we gonna get him on the bed? It was like at that moment, maybe because he started throwing up so much on the way there, that he was like, y'all talk too much, I can get on the bed myself. Like he hopped out of the wheelchair, boom, like into the bed. And we were just like, okay.
Dying. I'm like, okay, so he got whatever out of his system.
We were like, oh, okay. So then we just moved him up a little bit.
Right.
And he's like, I'm cold.
I'm like, yo, you need some
I had a little mini fan. I'm trying to like, take the sweat off. But he's like, oh, I'm cold. I'm cold. Had to put an extra blanket on him. Shaq put a towel under him just in case he, spit up. I took his shoes off, but I let him rest. And then the people left. The front desk left. The other couple finally left because the other girl was like, we need to go to bed. This is too much. The night's over.
Right.
And then we're standing there like, what are we going to do with this boy?
Right.
Shaq is yelling at Stefan.
Man.
Shaq is like, you don't know people's tolerances. Watch when we get back into the room.
Because I felt bad, like, and I know it wasn't his fault, but we just kept seeing him coming over with all these drinks. So I'm like, damn, I'm like, dude, y'all gotta slow down.
Right. Will should have done what we did, which was let the drink sit there.
Right.
And not drink it. Just be like, yeah, I'm drinking, and fake drink it.
Right.
We left our drinks. We didn't drink it. I was literally already good enough. And honestly, if it wasn't for those Jamaican patties we had,
we all would have been thrown up.
We would have been. I mean, I still felt drunk. Like, I went to sleep sitting up, partially because I literally felt like I was going to throw up, and also having to make sure that Will was not going to be throwing up.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the sleep. Like, I kept waking up every hour just to look at him and check him or whatever.
Right.
But I literally felt sick even when I got up in the morning. We came to breakfast, like, really late the next day, but...
Yeah, we had plans to make up for the day that they were held in captivity. But,
we thought we were going to wake up early, have enough time to do a couple slides in the water park, a couple shots on the beach, whatever, but it wasn't until when we was in the room standing there that out of nowhere Will started snoring.
We were like, all right,
and Stefan was like, man, he's fine. He already threw up. He's snoring. He left the room. Was like, let's go.
Out the room. All right, yeah. Well, let me make sure they're good first before we run it back to our room. That's all the way on the other side. He
was fine. He slept the whole night. No throw up. No nothing. Got up. No throw up. I actually ended up throwing up the next day. Like, I felt like I'd throw up, but it wouldn't come up. So I had to make myself throw up. Tasted all the liquor. Feeling. Oh my God. Tasted all the liquor. And I was like, oh. And then we just went for breakfast late. Sit on the beach for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And had to go home. It was a crazy night. The way things happened so fast, like looking back at the clips, and it's just like, okay, I can see where he started to get drunk.
Right.
I can see when he started to go left.
Right. Because let's give you a breakdown of what drinks they had. So when we were at dinner, he started out with some wine.
Yep.
And then had a few glasses of wine. Then he jumped to beer. I think he only had one glass of beer. And then we went upstairs to the sports bar. And they got a fruity drink. Then they got, I think they had shots of their own. Like I said, we wasn't delegating what they were doing at their table. But they had their own shots. And then they started having just glasses of rain cranberry. And I don't know how many glasses, because Stefan said they had a lot of glasses.
Yeah, I don't know. They clearly had too much.
Yeah, it was, so hearing all of that with the combination, it was just too much.
If you can't walk to your room, you drink too much. Literally.
And then homie, the girl's boyfriend's like, well, what if you got alcohol poisoning? You gotta be prepared for that. I'm like, yo, homie will be foaming at the mouth. He's good.
It's a lot. I personally don't even like having to deal with drunk people. Like, I don't know why. It's one of my pet peeves. Like,
yeah, it's a lot.
I've never been so drunk where anybody has to carry me or anything like that. I can be drunk. I can talk crazy.
Right. I can wobble myself.
I get in bed.
Right.
I don't like having to actually physically take care of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's really annoying. Number two, because you're so bad, everybody else that's drinking has to try to sober up to even, you know what I mean, take care of you.
Right.
So we jumped out of play mode or party mode into like mommy mode almost. Like, all right, we gotta make sure he's okay, make sure he's, able to move or whatever, and to have somebody else who's also drunk just rambling off, it can get really, really frustrating.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, in normal circumstances, like, if we weren't drunk and everybody's plan was to get Will drunk, then it's like, okay, we all know we're taking care of him. But nobody's plan was to take care of anybody really, I mean, besides us. But nobody's
we
real
weren't
plan.
really going to get to a point where something really needed to be taken care of. Like,
nobody's plan was really to get so drunk that they had to be carried or blackout or whatever.
Right.
So to have to try to sober up, deal with him, deal with somebody else who's drunk, who's just like, yo, he's doing this, doing that. Yo, it's crazy in here.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
Y'all can't leave. I gotta check on him.
What's your phone number?
Yeah, like, it was really like, okay, I need everybody to stop. It was literally like taking care of kids. It was just like, okay, I can't do that. But it was just.
I mean, we had fun. But we definitely had a lot happen.
It was a lot in a short amount of time.
Could you imagine if we was there a week?
Not to mention, when we got out of quarantine, they called us from the front desk, or we called them and said, hey, we got the negative result. They're like, yeah, we see negative result. You guys can leave. And I said, do we need to switch rooms? Because we had our room switched.
Right.
They were like, you don't have to. You check out tomorrow, right? And I said, yeah. They're like, you could just stay there for the last night.
Right.
Bet. That makes sense. I ain't got to check out. We can go right downstairs, link up with y'all for dinner.
Right.
Period. She's like, yeah, just come down and get your own room keys. No problem. Because, when you're in prison, they don't give you room keys. They just lock you in the room.
Right.
So I went there, got the room keys. Everything is fine. When we go to check out...
I forgot all about that.
We go to check out. I give them the room number. They're like, what room number are you in? I said, well, my old one was this, but, I've been in this room. She's like, okay. Then she asked, well, what room number are you in? I said, he's in the same room as me. And she was like, no, I only see one name here. And I was like, how is it only one name? We've been together. And then she looked up his name and she's like, no, you need to go back to the room. You need to be quarantined. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, we got I didn't even let Will talk. I was like, excuse me, what are you talking about? I was like, we got a negative test. Matter of fact, here's the copy. I spoke to the manager last night who told us to stay in that room and we can leave today.
Right.
And she was like, I don't know. Called somebody else to come over there like, no, you got to stay. And I said, stay for what? You have to wait for the results for 48 hours. I said, we already have the results.
Right, we're not staying here.
There's no 48 hours. They're like, okay. I said, get the manager. Get the manager.
Right. I want the manager.
And I kind of knew something was up because that morning they had called us again for breakfast because we was in quarantine. They would call us to read the menu to bring the breakfast. And I told the guy, I said, no, we're leaving today. We got a negative test. And he was like, oh. So that means the people on the night shift didn't leave a note or didn't change their status for the day shift.
Right.
So I don't even think they had even waited to get the manager's approval because I showed them the negative test and they were just like, oh, okay, you can leave now. And I was just like,
yeah, no, y'all ain't.
I was like, we were going to leave regardless. I don't care if you left that band on his hand. We were leaving.
Right. You ain't holding us captive no longer than you already have.
So it lets me know that the communication is horrible, whether it's between shifts, whether it's between managers, the COVID
people and the front desk.
The communication was just horrible. But when we go to another one, I would hope that does not happen. Again.
I hope not, because that was, first off, it killed the trip. We were short changed a day.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't get.
And that's a lot for a short trip.
Yeah, for a short trip.
It was almost like a weekend trip.
Like, we were really like, all right, we're going to take photos, we're going to get content, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or whatever. And we really only had, like, one good night.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have another normal night.
Right.
Besides the first night.
Right. The first night was so much fun. We're like, all right, this sets the tone for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, we were like, it's going to be great. We're going to be doing everything on the resort.
Fun. Like,
we had so much planned.
Husband's getting along, like.
It was just crazy, but it's nothing short of every other trip that we've ever had.
Hell yeah.
There's always something
always
that happens. Like, always something that happens that goes left, that's unpredictable.
Always.
That's crazy.
Always. It wouldn't be us if there wasn't something going down. So, but we're gonna get a redo. Mm-hmm. It might not be Jamaica. It might be somewhere else. It might be Jamaica. You never know.
Yet.
You never know. But Yeah, that's a recap of everything that happened in that 4-day trip.
All those major highlights.
Like, we're hoping that the redo is smooth and we can really do what we originally planned to do.
Yeah, we'll try for more days.
Oh, definitely more days. Definitely
More days.
Hopefully, but not hopefully. We know the next redo is going to be on and popping because we got to make up. What?
Bradley's acting up because we're not paying attention to him.
My fur child.
So excited.
All
But yeah.
in all, we had a good time.
Yes.
And this food was really good. As you can see, we
killed it.
didn't even stop and talk about the
I know, I was
food.
starving. I was already hungry, but honestly, it was really,
it was really good.
We're gonna try to actually go there and actually do the crab boil because it was actually really good.
Right. So shout out to you, Juicy Seafood.
Juicy Seafood
And Silver Spring. If y'all want to sponsor a gift card or something for us to do a video, we will give a review.
Anywho, we thank y'all for checking into our channel.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
And let us know what other content y'all want. Do y'all want to see more mukbangs? Do y'all want
more vlogs,
trips around Maryland style?
Yes.
Yeah, like we said, don't forget to
like, comment,
share.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we're coming down. Tell us what you want to see, what y'all want to do.
Yeah.
And we will check y'all in our next video. Stay tuned.